Hey, this is Danielle over at DIYDanielle.com. Before we get started, hit subscribe and make sure to visit my blog if you're looking for a list of supplies, or check out the description below. Today I am going to be working on a laser engraved memory box. This is just a box I want to hang up to store little things that I want to keep and be able to look back at. I have done one of these already, and I did it exclusively with my laser cutter. You can do this if you don't have a table saw. However, doing the groove cut with the laser cutter, it's very time consuming. One of the issues I had was if you have a saw stop, which happens to be a special table saw that breaks if it thinks your fingers are near it. The reason it breaks is because it senses your fingers and the whatever's in your fingers. Unfortunately, charred wood also has that effect. So I broke a $100 break. So I don't really recommend doing your groove cut with this unless you do the groove cut before you hit this wood with the laser cutter. So instead, we're going to build the sides with our table saw, do our groove cuts, and then we're going to do the back piece and the front pieces with our laser cutter. That way our laser cutter and our table saw don't interact. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut out our sides, just 1, 2, 3, 4 sides with 1/2 inch plywood. Let's get started. To start with, I'm going to add a groove cut along the longest length here. What I want is I want my blade up so it's going to go about halfway through. As you can see, this creates a very quick and easy groove. I'm going to take one of the pieces that I plan to use for this, and I'm going to see if this is wide enough. It's not. I need to create a second groove cut near it just so it's wide enough to hold this. So I'll flip it back over. And I'm just going to nudge it a little bit to the side. Watch your fingers. Make sure it's off. There we are. And that should do the trick. And I'll run it through again. You should be able to see if it fits at this point. So not only do you want it to fit, you want it to slide easily so that you can open and close. That's exactly what I want. So at this point, I want to cut the sides. So I need one cut to be 3 and 11.25. And I need 2 that are 8.75 times 3. Okay, so we got this and we got this. What we need is one that's not quite as high as this initial lip because it's got to slide over. We're looking at 2 3/8 inches. I've got a groove here, so we're going to need one here. And then this one already has it. So we already have the groove here. We're going to run these 2 through, add these grooves. What we can do is take a nail gun and some glue and just glue this together. So now's a good time to go ahead and sand all of these edges. After sanding, you just want to go ahead and throw some paint on this. It's a good idea to throw a couple of coats on. You can also paint your panels as well for your back and your front if you want them to be painted before they get laser cut. I am having my laser cutter cut the fronts and the backs. This is one of the backs, and I'm going to be coloring these in once I get it all finished, but I've got 2 more to do. Okay, so for the front of this particular piece, I've got 2 sections. I've got a bottom lip and then I've got the top slide out lid. So I'm going to place them right on top of each other or right next to each other in the laser cutter so I can make sure I get my design spaced correctly. So I am going to turn it. I'm going to refresh so it actually pulls up the actual image. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to edit the image first, remove the line. So I just click on it because it's got the smart thing. Remove this, then I'm going to go copy, paste, and then I'm going to edit the image again, and I am going to cut out the breathe. And so I have breathe down here. Can enlarge it, center it. Then I'm going to edit this, I'm going to remove breathe, so I'm not going to have it twice. Okay, so this will go here. This will go here. Now you can change it. I've got these as a engraving from the original image. This I'm going to trace because it'll be super nice trace, hopefully. Now the trace is going to go much quicker. I've got it for score on this one. If I did engrave, it would color in the lines, which I don't want it to do because I'm going to color it in. And then this is still going to engrave because I think it'll look nicer. I need to set my materials. I'm using fine wood. I've got triangular prisms. I'm going to remeasure the thickness, and it's going to adjust a little, so I'm going to want to adjust my design as well. And so I want to make sure I get it on here. Now just remember, you want to make sure that your design is small enough that it's not going to be covered by anything. And there will be like a lip over here and here. I think that's about where I want it, so I'm going to go ahead and go process. Framing is when it outlines for you where it's going to be. So I always frame first. When you frame, you come up here and you just watch the little dot and see where it's putting it. So that's about where I want it. I'm hoping it's centered properly because it's hard to see. So I can press framing complete, start. And I'm gonna let it go while I do other things. My favorite part of this whole project is using paint markers to go ahead and color in all the areas between the lines. This makes it just so much fun, and you can really add your own unique touch to the. When you're happy with the color, you can go ahead and just Mod Podge over that and let it dry, and that'll help seal it a little bit. I feel like it is an additional step that can help protect your work. Now that I have got this painted and it's dried, I'm gonna take my back piece and I'm gonna just center it on here and nail it in place. You can also use some glue if you want. I'm gonna flip it back over. If any didn't go on properly, you're gonna have to fix it like me. And there we go. You can go ahead and slide your front on. On the back, you can either add a little bracket for hanging. You can add these little D-rings that you just screw on. You can also try using command strips. They work really well for some things. I find that if the container is gonna get too heavy, that you wanna use enough of them. The other thing is you may want to put like little felt pads like you would put on the bottom of your chair feet on the back of these, which helps protect your wall. And for one of these pieces, what I do is I actually glue the bottom piece in place. You insert that, glue that on, you let it dry, and then you have this piece here. I'm not going to push that all the way in. But so what that allows you to do is actually have a little lip so that if you wanted to put papers and stuff behind it, you are in good shape. Now this would be really good for something like a jewelry holder or hanging your keys. You can open and close it. You can put your mail in and then close it up. And here's two of the different designs that I've done so far, but I've still got to put together a third box. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. You can visit my blog, DIYDanielle.com, for more information about this project. Take care.